Hello and welcome to our Week 13 recap of this college football revamped dynasty of Season 1. The first game we are going to today is Minnesota at Ohio State. This game does not have any implications for the Big Ten. We already know that Ohio State is going to win their division and be a representative in the Big Ten title game. What I more wanted to look at today was just how good is this Ohio State team? Minnesota has fared fairly well. They have a 7-3 record overall and a 4-3 record in Big Ten play. Can they push Ohio State, and can we see a whole other gear from Ohio State? And can they live up to these ratings and rankings they've achieved this season? Well, first drive of the game, Minnesota has the ball. They use a little bit of an option look, get the ball out to Sean Tyler. He's in from 5 yards out, and Minnesota has an early 7-0 lead, and Ohio State would need to respond. Well, that very next drive, it's a 2nd and 10 for Kyle McCord and company. He drops back and he fires across the middle of the field, and he is picked off. And Minnesota makes a statement early that Ohio State is not going to be able to get it easy against them, that they are going to have to work a lot harder than they've had to in the previous Big Ten games. And a 1-for-5 start for McCord with an interception does not look great. But later on in the first quarter, he would respond with a little bit of an option look himself and take it himself from 5 yards out and ties this game up at 7. Then, next drive for Ohio State, they're starting to cook a little bit, gets the ball to one of his big play receivers, Emeka Egbuka, and gives Ohio State a 14-7 lead. But Minnesota would not let Ohio State get away from them. They would able to find their own touchdown later on to tie this one up at 14 to Corey Crooms. And Ohio State still feeling like they don't have total control of this game. Well, let's take a look at McCord and Marvin Harrison Jr., former high school teammates with their connection. That gets a conversion on 3rd and long for Ohio State. And then on that same drive after that conversion, it's a 3rd and goal. McCord gets plenty of protection. He fires to the back of the end zone and finds Lorenzo Styles from 6 yards away. And Ohio State has a 21-14 lead. Minnesota down by 2 scores in the fourth quarter. They cut that lead more than in half, and they now are only down 27-21, and Ohio State is going to have to make some winning plays if they want to finish off this game. McCord and company have the ball. He has a play action fake, moves around great in the pocket, finds a man. No, it is picked off by Minnesota, and Minnesota gets the ball back, only down by 1 score in the fourth quarter. Well, they didn't get a lot going. It's 3rd and 17, and they are not able to make a conversion there. Ohio State gets the ball back in great field position. You can kind of see where this one's going. Kyle McCord is able to make a beautiful throw to Emeka Egbuka for 18 yards. And then to finish that off on 2nd and 2, under 6 minutes to go in this game, they give it to Mayan Williams from 3 yards away, and Ohio State takes that commanding lead 35-21. Minnesota would have some chances though. It's 4th and goal. They need a conversion here so they can get the ball back, see what they can do. Instead, it's knocked away. That locks the game up. After a shaky start, Kyle McCord still comes through with a player of the game nod, having a great performance to lead this team at home and beat a good Minnesota team. Ohio State maintains their perfect record and looks like a team to beat in the country. Next up, we are going to Beaver Stadium in Happy Valley to see Penn State host Notre Dame. 2 teams that are still kind of in the race in the Big Ten in their division, but honestly Notre Dame does not have much of a chance just based on how the schedules broke out. But Penn State is still playing for a lot in today's game. When you look at the records of both these teams, you see, Notre Dame and Penn State both have 2 losses. They're still both alive in this race. Not really. Notre Dame has lost to Michigan State already, so they've lost that tiebreaker. So Michigan State with 2 losses has the edge on them. If Penn State wins today, though, they can pretty much lock up the division because they would have the tiebreakers over Notre Dame and Michigan State and put them in the driver's seat for the rest of this season and hopefully getting their date with Ohio State. First play we're going to go to is Penn State up by 4, end of the half, 3rd and goal. They're letting the time run out. They're saying this is the final play of the half. One way or another, Drew Allaire finds his man Liam Clifford from 2 yards away, and that gives Penn State a multi-score lead going into halftime. They're still in control, up by 11, but Notre Dame is driving on their first drive of the second half. It's 3rd and goal, under 7 minutes to go. Can Sam Hartman make a play? He dumps it off to his receiver, and Deion Colsey is not able to get in the end zone, and they would settle for a field goal to cut this to a 1-score game. Penn State, in their traditional hurry-up, trying to put up points quick. It's a 2nd and 4 situation for their team in the 3rd quarter. Allaire has a great play-action look, some great protection as well. Drops a deep bomb, beautifully thrown to his man Keandre Lambert-Smith. and sets them up for a goal-to-go situation. It's 2nd and goal on this play. Under 3 minutes to go. Allaire, using that big frame to power into the end zone from 2 yards away, gives Penn State a 31-16 lead. Notre Dame, chances are running out for this team, and they get whacked on that play, forcing a 4th down. Notre Dame would have to punt it away after that one, and their chances of coming back really started to get slim. 3rd and 17 for Notre Dame next time they had the ball. Still down 31-16, under 6 minutes to go. Hartman looking, he's got some protection, but he gets picked off on a beautifully run route by the Penn State DB and puts them in a real rough spot. And for good measure, Penn State up 31-16, 4 minutes to go. Allaire gets great protection, finds his man, hits Caden Saunders from 7 yards away, and Penn State ends up throttling Notre Dame and really controlling this game in a beautiful way. And I think this Penn State team is full of contenders. They have established themselves as a true contender to Ohio State, and I can't wait to see those two teams play and see if Penn State can get some magic together and pull off an upset of that team in the Big Ten title game if they both get there. Next game on the docket. This one was unfortunately not as close as I would have hoped for the stakes that were in play for Oklahoma and Kansas State. It was a blustery day with plenty of snow, and a lot of people thought Kansas State would be able to power through Oklahoma in this game with their records coming into this one. Kansas State with a win would win their Big 12 division, but if Oklahoma won, they would pull into a tie with Kansas State and hold that tiebreaker because of the head-to-head record. And unfortunately, we go to the 3rd quarter. Kansas State's already down 28-9, trying to make something happen. Howard throws an interception deep in the red zone. That turns the ball over. Then another 4th and 5 opportunity, not even the 4th quarter yet, but still down 28-9, trying to make something happen. And you don't have the wherewithal and awareness to stay in bounds. It's a little slippery out there for Trayshawn Ward. He doesn't get the conversion on 4th down. Oklahoma controls this one from start to finish. Dylan Gabriel has a really nice day in the snow, able to power through with his legs and getting 10 carries. And Oklahoma wins this one, and now they take control of their Big 12 division, as we'll see later on in the show where those standings exactly stand. But Oklahoma is now in their own pole position for that division. Last game we're going to look at today, Colorado visiting UNLV at Allegiant Stadium. Colorado has a lot on the line today. They are 5-2 in Pac-12 play, and if they win today's game, they will have a date with Utah for their division championship next week. We're going to pick this one up in the 2nd quarter. Colorado's defense makes a stop on 3rd down and forces UNLV to kick a field goal and keep it a 10-9 game. But the next time we're going to kick in is at 6 minutes to go in the 4th quarter. UNLV down 6. Doug Brumfield hands the ball off to Courtney Reese from 4 yards away. UNLV gets their first lead of the game to go up 19-18, 3:30 to go. UNLV driving, trying to keep the ball away, still with a 1-point lead. Colorado needs a stop. They drop it off to Courtney Reese. He doesn't get the conversion. It's now 4th down. UNLV is settling for a 49-yard field goal. Not going to go for it here. The kick is up. The kick is good. And UNLV now holds a 4-point lead, and Colorado will need to drive to take the lead back and keep their dreams of a Pac-12 championship alive. 3rd and inches. Shedeur Sanders throws this one away, and that was a 13 for 40 at this point for Shedeur Sanders. They are going to need something to happen on the ground if they want to keep their hopes alive. That's exactly what they do, handing the ball off to Smoke. He gets a 1st down with that 8-yard rush as he really carried them on the ground. Then a 1st and 10 with about a minute to go in the 4th quarter, in field goal range, but drops this ball in the bucket. Beautiful throw by Sanders, but they need a touchdown. They can't settle for a field goal. 56 seconds left, 2nd and goal. Big pitch out to Smoke, dives towards the end zone, but does not get in. He's still an inch away. 3rd and goal. A lot on the line for Colorado still. Hand off to Smoke, as you know they would. Punches it in. Colorado takes the lead back, and now they just need to hold on defense. 11 seconds to go, UNLV trying to get a little closer for maybe a tying field goal. Brumfeld throws to the sidelines. He is out of bounds, and it's going to force a field goal attempt for UNLV. This one's going to be 56 yards away for the kicker after he just kicked one from 49 yards away. Does he have the leg? The kick is up, and it is no good. Colorado escapes. They are going to have a date with Utah next week where the winner will get to represent the Pac-12 division in their Pac-12 division championship game. Nothing could have been more surprising as Deion Sanders has gotten his crew together and they are now going to get to play for the biggest title in the Pac-12 next week. Some other scores around the country. Florida beat Clemson 42-35, and that's 3-win Clemson. Remember, a team that is totally spiraled. UCF beats Georgia Tech 42-16. They get their 7th SEC win. They finished 7-2 in the SEC this season. Miami beats South Carolina 41-21. LSU beats NC State 38-17. Then Tennessee beats Vanderbilt in a rivalry game 38-17. And then finally in the SEC, Drake May in North Carolina beats Auburn 21-11, and Auburn continues their nightmare of a first season with Hugh Freeze. Then we move over to the Big Ten. Pittsburgh beats West Virginia 38-28. Cincinnati beats Purdue 28-10 of two teams that have had not the best of seasons so far. Michigan State throttles Indiana 59-3. Wisconsin beats Illinois 42-11. Then Louisville beats Kentucky in a high-flying rivalry game of their own 51-48, almost 100 combined points, but Louisville gets a big win and keeps bowl hopes alive. Michigan beats Air Force 31-7. Then we saw Penn State's win over Notre Dame, where they ended up winning 41-22. And then we saw Ohio State beat Minnesota 35-21. And Ohio State completes their 12-0 perfect regular season. Then in the Big 12, TCU beats Houston 42-17, and TCU remains perfect in Big 12 play. Then Nebraska beats Missouri 38-0, blanking them and getting their 8th win of the season in a nice season for Nebraska. Texas beats Baylor 35-7 in a rivalry game. Kansas beats Iowa State 49-17, and Kansas gets bowl eligible with their win. Then Texas A&M beats Texas Tech 37-21 in a rivalry game that I did not know was a rivalry game, but sure, I'll trust you on that one. Oklahoma beat Kansas State, as we saw the highlights from earlier. And then Oklahoma State beats Tulane 27-21, and Tulane will not go bowling in their first season in the Big 12. And then our final big conference set of matchups, BYU beats an FCS team 44-10. Then Oregon goes to the desert and beats Arizona 31-14. They are 9-2 now. San Diego State gets their 8th win of the season 29-15. Utah wins a non-conference matchup with Maryland 32-20. Random, but okay. Arizona State beats Colorado State 28-14. We saw Colorado's big win over UNLV. Then Washington State beat Fresno State 38-16 of two teams, again, not having the greatest of years. And then Washington, the other undefeated major team, wins 21-13 in a close game against Oregon State. They move to 11-0 and a perfect 8-0 in Pac-12 play. Let's talk scenarios. So you see in the SEC East, we have 3 teams who have 2 losses. But the fact is, Georgia has beaten both us and UCF, so they hold the tiebreaker. If they beat Georgia Tech, they will win the SEC East. I fully expect them to do that. Then in the other SEC division, North Carolina and Mississippi State are the 2 teams with 2 losses. North Carolina has already finished at the SEC plate, and they have the tiebreaker because they beat Mississippi State, so they are going to represent the SEC West in the SEC championship game. Then in the Big 12, it's pretty simple. TCU is going to end up being the representative in this division. They hold the tiebreaker against Texas because they beat them. Texas is the only team that can catch them, so TCU is your representative from this Big 12 division, and they will be in the Big 12 championship game. Then in the other division, we have Oklahoma and Kansas State, who are tied up in this division, but Oklahoma beat Kansas State head-to-head. This one's pretty simple. You already saw that. Oklahoma needs to win, and they get in. They just need to take care of business against Tulane, and if they lose, then Kansas State has an opportunity to win the division by beating Kansas. Ohio State has completed their season with a perfect 9-0 record. They are going to represent the Big Ten East in the Big Ten championship game. And then the Big Ten West, Michigan State and Penn State are tied atop the division, but Penn State has that all-important head-to-head tiebreaker, so they just need to beat Indiana next week, and they will be the representative for the Big Ten. If Penn State loses, Michigan State needs to take care of business against West Virginia. Washington is 11-0, 8-0 in conference play. They have beaten everybody that they need to beat. They are going to be the Pac-12 division champs. Utah, Colorado. Utah holds a 1-game lead, but they play Colorado in the last week of the season. If Colorado beats them, they will both have 2 losses, and Colorado will officially have the tiebreaker, and they will play Washington in the Pac-12 title game. It is raining cats and dogs. I don't know what to make of this, but it makes for a compelling last game of the season for these teams, so cannot wait to see how that plays out. And then the Heisman race, Braylon Allen, Chandler Morris, Kyle McCord all coming on strong, Caleb Williams fading, but it is Michael Penix Jr. who looks like he's going to take home the crown as a Heisman Trophy winner. And when you look at the season that Michael Penix has had, it's not that surprising when you look at it. He's been absolutely sensational. 35 touchdowns to 1 interception, 3,700 passing yards. He's done a lot on the ground as well. Great completion percentage. Let's give the man his flowers, give the man his trophy. He should be a Heisman Trophy winner. Congratulations to Michael Penix Jr. Hope nothing happens where he ends up not winning. I think he's a deserving winner for this season, so looking forward to that. And as always, thanks for tuning in. Next game is going to be against Florida, final regular season game of the season as our main game, and then we'll have a recap show where we get to see that all-important Colorado and Utah matchup for the Pac-12 Division Championship. As always, go Noles.